Hi everyone, welcome to Show Me the Marketing. This is Yasin. Today I'm going to show you a quick data studio tutorial which can be really useful. Let's say you run two campaigns per month and you want to compare the uplift in sales or the traffic or the conversion rate, whatever it might be. There isn't a straightforward way to do this, but I found a way which can be quite useful if you want to visually show your clients or your manager, or if even you yourself, if you're running a small business and if you want to see how the ads are performing, or if there is an uplift in sales. This chart over here is what you're going to get, is what we're going to make, and I'm going to take you through this step by step. The time series chart, the x-axis would be the time. I've set it to days. The left y-axis would be whatever metric you've chosen inside the chart. If you see these small bars in the middle, I'm probably going to choose just 1 month to show you, to make this a little bit more clearer. So if you see these bars, they actually denote whether a campaign has started or whether a campaign has ended, or in case if you made any recent changes on your website and you want to keep track of that, or and if you want to see whether the performance improved or dipped right after that event, or if you want to see if there are any sales spikes, and if you found out why that happened, and if you want to keep track of those, you can even note those down as well. Like, the amount of things which you can do with this technique is unlimited. It's all limited to what you want to do and what you want to achieve. The next chart over here at the bottom is simply to show you the name of the campaign, or name of the website event, on the name of and why the sales spike happened. This is simply a replica of an Excel sheet. We'll go through all of this one by one. So in here, I've already added one data source. This is my Google Analytics data source. When I say my, it's not my data. It's actually Google Merchandise Stores data from their demo account, which we can play with. This is one of the data sources, and the other data source is the Excel sheet, which we are going to blend with this Google Analytics data over here. This here contains all your dates, and it would contain it can be any column, really. As I mentioned before, I want to look at campaign start dates, campaign end dates, and key website events and sales spikes. So I put them in separate columns. The reason we have them as separate columns is it's just so much easier inside Google Data Studio, because you can color code them, and you would know that a particular campaign is started in date A and it ended in date B. If you move to the next month, maybe then you'd be able to see that a particular campaign started in date A and date B, and so on. So the next thing we have to do is, so I have this table over here. This is the table which is created if I add a data source to my data studio report. So we won't need this right now. So I'm going to delete this here, and I'm going to add a chart, and the chart we need for at the top is the time series chart. So I'm going to pick this time series chart over here, and I will drag it like this and let it populate with some value. Currently it's tracking users. As I mentioned, it can be any metric you want it to be. It doesn't have to be users. It can be conversions, purchases, conversion rates, or anything. I'm gonna let it be here as users, or traffic, just so that it doesn't start loading again. The next thing we need to do is add data. So we do that by going in here, and we want to add this campaign dummy data inside our report. So how I'm going to do that is go in here and select a Google Sheets and campaign dummy data, and you select the sheet. I've already added it in here, and after selecting this chart, we click on blend data. A new menu pops up from the bottom, and you would leave the Google Analytics data on the left. You would add another table on the right, and this would be our campaign dummy data. And the thing with join is, you need a key to join it with, so that the data is correlated amongst just one key. I can make a quick tutorial about join keys. If anybody needs it, you can drop it in the comments below. And if you see on the left, we have Google Analytics over here, and if you see on the right, we have campaign dummy data. And the join keys, as I mentioned, is set to date. Next thing we need to do is look at all the metrics we need. Currently, we just have new users. Let's say I want to select any goal. So let's say I select purchase completions. Not sure if that's what the goal is called in this particular data set. Cool. We have something called goal conversion rate. So let me just select that. We might not even use it, but let's just keep it there. It's handy. And the next thing we need to do is select all of these, all of the columns which we need, and add them as metrics rather than dimensions. I'll tell you in a second why that makes a difference. We also need to pick our date range dimension over here so that we tell Data Studio that this particular column is the date range, and if we add a filter if we add a control or if we add a filter, it would be applicable by this particular date column. So we in our case we just have one date column, so I'm gonna drag that in here and drop it in here. So I'm just gonna click on save. The reason why we don't see any columns like we have over here is because everything, all of these metrics are set to the x-axis, and the x-axis has a maximum of 8,000. And the reason why we see those bar charts inside the graph is because it's counting the number of values for a particular column in that date. So that's what's happening here. So in this case, in the 28th of Jan, we would see just one value for the campaign start. And let's say in the 2nd of Feb, we would see only one value in the campaign end. So that's what's happening. And since those values are so small, and obviously it's just one compared to 8,000, you just can't see them in the chart. So what we need to do is move all of those values which have a value of 1 to the right side of the chart. The way we're going to do it is select this chart and go into style. Once you go into style, you'll see that you'll be able to select the axis for each of the series, and what I'm going to do is assign series 1 to the left and assign everything else to the right, and I'm also going to select them as bars instead of lines. So everything except the users, that is traffic, I'm going to select them as bars. And next we are going to add a date range control, so that if you want to pick a particular date, you can easily do that over here at the top. And let's quickly test if this chart is working fine. Let me randomly select October here and see if the values are updating and if everything is coming in properly. Yeah, we are seeing October here, and as I mentioned, since these bars are in different colors, you'll see that between the 5th of October and between the 12th of October, we had a campaign. The next problem we're going to have is we don't know what the name of the campaign. What we're going to do is create another table. We select the data for this table to come directly from the campaign dummy data Google Sheet. So let's see here. So since I made this chart with the blended data, and it automatically picks blended data again. So I'm gonna go here and I'm gonna choose campaign dummy data. And again, the date range dimension, you just have to remember to have the correct column over here, or else the cross filtering between these two charts or the date range control would not work, and it's just annoying to scroll through all of this stuff. So you just have to remember to do that. I'm going to do that over here, and I'm going to pick date. Next thing we need to remember here is, the way I selected, I put all of these campaign start, end, and all of those values to metrics in this previous chart. And metrics only takes numerical values, but over here we want to see the names of the campaigns. That is, we want to see the values which are over here. We want to see new year, new you, or we want to see end of Jan over here in this chart. So to do that, it's just simple. What we need to do is we need to drag this campaign start and we need to drop it in a dimension rather than dropping it into the metric. Right now we have all of the campaign dates, ends, and everything for this particular date range. Maybe the next thing we can do is do a little bit of cleanup. We don't want to see these null values over here. So let's leave this tab selected, and we go into style, and there is an option to show the nulls as empty boxes. So we go here. So if there is a option called missing data, it says show null right now. It might be useful to some, but right now we want to show it as blank. The next thing that you can do is be able to select anything over here in this chart, and the chart above would automatically update to show you the proper values. The reason why I clicked it and it did not work is because I don't have cross filtering on over here. Once I turn that on, if I, let's say I selected this value here, the chart above would repopulate to show me just this value. And 29th October is the date when this campaign started. You can see that this color is teal and this color is teal. So again, this can be used for anything. I've used Google Analytics data to show you how it can be useful. But obviously you can use it with Facebook data, Google Ads data. If you have an Amazon account, you can use it for that, and check how different changes or different ads are affecting your traffic and your sale and purchases. It's just a super easy and super quick way to check and to keep track of things. But maybe the only downside here is we had to manually make this. But if you don't have a lot of campaigns, it's really not too much work. But if you have maybe let's PostGRA SQL database, you can probably do a left join of your, let's say, Google Analytics data and your PostGRA database, and maybe you can run it like that if you're already recording all of this campaign data somewhere. But I thought that this is probably the easiest thing to do because it doesn't require any technical setup. You just have to type this data in and you just have to perform a blend data inside Google Data Studio, and you'd be able to see how your campaigns worked. Yeah, that's about it. I really hope this tutorial was useful for you. And if it was, please leave a like, and please do consider subscribing. I am planning to make few more videos. If you have any particular problems that you're trying to solve, and if you want to present data in a particular way, do share that question with me. Even if I don't know how to do that, I'll probably look it up and I'd be happy to help and probably make a video about it too. And yeah, that's it. Cheers.